Hey, good morning. Nice to see you here this morning. Thank you for being here. We're here for our extraordinary meeting, December 15th, 2023. I declare the meeting open at 8:30. And we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. May I ask the councilor to adopt today's agenda, please? Councilor Shelf.
I adopt today's agenda.
Thank you. It's a second. Councilor Gruber, all in favor? Thank you. We'll continue with the two items on the agenda for this morning, which are under administration, the adoption of bylaw number 1085 concerning tariffs, l'adoption du règlement 1085 de tarification pour l'année 2024. Conseil, Councilor Brown, please.
Thank you. Whereas the notice of motion of the present bylaw was given by myself and the draft bylaw was tabled at the regular meeting of the council on December 12th, 2023. Whereas I mentioned the purpose of the draft of this bylaw at the council's regular meeting held on December 12th, 2023, which is to determine the 2024 tariffs of the town of Baie-D'Urfé. Whereas a copy of this bylaw was given to each member of council prior to this meeting, and all members of council present declare having read it and thus forego its reading. I note that no amendments were made to the bylaw between the filing of its draft and the version submitted today for adoption. Therefore, I moved to adopt bylaw number 1085 concerning tariffs for the year 2024.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. And Councilor, second, please. Councilor Basada, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of bylaw 1086, the general property taxes for 2024 and fiscal measures, l'adoption du règlement 1086 imposant la taxe foncière générale pour 2024 et comportant d'autres mesures fiscales. Councilor Lowenstein.
Thank you. Whereas in accordance with section 356 of the Cities and Towns Act, CQLR Chapter C19, the passing of every bylaw must be preceded by the filing of a draft bylaw at the sitting of the council, and a notice of motion must be given at the same sitting or at a separate sitting. Whereas a notice of motion of the present bylaw was given by myself, and the draft bylaw was tabled at a regular meeting of the council on December 12th, 2023. Whereas I mentioned that the purpose of the draft of this bylaw at the council's regular meeting held on December 12th, 2023, which is to fix the general property tax rates on the properties located on the territory of the town of Baie-D'Urfé for the fiscal year of 2024. Whereas copy of this bylaw was given to each member of council prior to this meeting, and all members of council present declared having read it and thus forgo its reading. I mentioned that no amendments were made to the bylaw between the filing of its draft and the version submitted today for adoption. I propose to adopt the bylaw number 1086, imposing a general property tax for 2024 and adopting other fiscal measures.
Thank you, Councilor Lowenstein. Councilor second. Councilor Brown, all in favor? Thank you. We will continue. We have a public question period. The question period for today's special meeting has to do with the two items on today's agenda. So if there are any questions, unfortunately, we won't have any questions online because this morning is being recorded internally and will be posted immediately following to the website. So if any questions come in afterwards, we're happy to answer them. But if there's anyone here in the public this morning who has a question regarding the items that were on this morning's agenda, feel free. So just if you could please, good morning. Your name and your address. We know who you are, but just for the
Lombardi, 47 Lombardi. My question is twofold. What is the increase on a percentage point on average for the households? And how much of the increase is because of the taxation without representation by the city of Montreal?
Thank you for your two questions. They were addressed at the public meeting, but your first question regarding what is the average increase for citizens for Baie-D'Urfé, the average increase is 4.66. That is your first question. And for the second question, I know we have our treasurer here with us today. Julie, could you please answer Mr. Doherty's question regarding the second question?
Yes, so the aglo, it went up by 4%, which represents 62% of our budget. Yeah. It's a little bit less than last year, but it's still quite high.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions. If there's any other questions about what went on this morning, you have a follow-up question?
Follow up if I may.
Absolutely.
What have you done, council-wise, to try and reduce the 4.6 to even lower? What kind of cost controls have you put in?
I'll take the liberty of answering, and if our DG or the treasurer has a complimentary addition to your question, that would be fine. The budget was looked at thoroughly. There were many items that were scaled back. There are things that are not in our control. Their contracts are rising on average between 20 to 40%. Our external contracts are going up. And as mentioned at the last public meeting, there were 2 collective agreements that were signed this year that are in effect that had an impact on the budget. But every department met with the DG and the treasurer, and any fat that was in that budget was eliminated off the bat. If there's any other compliments from either of you?
I could just add that amongst the demerged town, apart from Dorval, who's at 0, but Dorval has always been almost at 0 because of the airport. Cash cow they have with that, we're the lowest. So we started the exercise at 9%, which was impossible for us to move forward. So we did cut quite a bit to meet 4.6, which we're very happy with.
I think the citizen may be aware from previous conversations of my frugal nature and seeker of value that without being facetious, I can genuinely say every contract, etc., that comes up is scrupulously addressed for what, where, and why is it at this price, and what we can do about it. But I know that you are a very well-informed person. It's extraordinary the cost increases in general in our society, and particularly to municipalities. Some things you just can't do anything about, and when the tenders come in, they come in. But you can also, before that, we look at what goes into the tenders and make sure it is exactly what we want.
Thank you.
One more?
So one more, absolutely.
One more?
Thank you for
You're
being
seeing
here.
me more often. I didn't see the capital expenditure budget, so maybe something's there, maybe something's not. You know, my favorite thing is safety. And I want to know, is it in the capital budget finally put a sidewalk between Apple Hill and the Beaconsfield sidewalk before somebody gets killed? And I don't say that lightly. I watch kids walking on school bags. They get away from everything, myself included. So that's my question. Will you go ahead with that eventually?
So thank you for your question. We're getting a little bit off today's meeting, but I will take the opportunity to answer your question. And I'm happy to record it. I think the public should, I would have welcomed it at the regular meeting, but it'll be recorded for anybody. It is not on the capital expenditure plan. It was removed a while ago, as you were aware. That said, I did answer your email privately to let you know that we have been in contact with the police because of the situation on Surrey. Although it is not seen as a speeding issue, but increased traffic due to the bridge. And I believe that you may be contacted directly from the commander to get your input on the situation. So at this point in time, no, there is no sidewalk on the PTI.
I'll keep pushing.
Any other questions from the public this morning regarding this agenda? No, well, thank you for being here and taking time this morning to join us. And we will move into the,
I move to close.
yeah, thank you. Councillor Thompson and Councillor Greenberg to second. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
About average for the.
For this.